Did you know that your freezer, one of the most trusted kitchen appliances, could be silently turning some everyday foods into potential health hazards? It's a common myth that freezing preserves everything perfectly, locking in nutrients and freshness. But recent research shows there are hidden dangers lurking in the ice, especially for seniors and those concerned about cancer prevention. Some foods, when frozen or improperly stored, can actually create or release compounds linked to cancer, inflammation, and other long-term health risks. Today, we're breaking down 7 foods you should never put in your freezer, explaining the science behind these risks, and giving you safer, smarter alternatives for a healthier life at any age. Let's start with leafy greens: spinach, kale, lettuce, and similar vegetables. While these greens are nutritional powerhouses when eaten fresh, freezing them can trigger unexpected chemical changes. Leafy greens naturally contain nitrates, which are generally harmless in their original state. But here's the problem. When these greens are frozen and then thawed, those nitrates can be converted into nitrosamines. Nitrosamines are a class of compounds strongly linked to cancer risk in numerous studies. This risk is amplified for those over 60, whose bodies may be less efficient at detoxifying these compounds. So, what's the safer choice? If you must freeze leafy greens, blanch them first. This quick boiling step deactivates enzymes that lead to nitrosamine formation, preserving the nutritional value and safety of your food. But whenever possible, enjoy your greens fresh, crisp, and full of antioxidants. Next, let's talk about fried foods. Think frozen French fries, fried chicken, and onion rings. These treats are already on the watch list for health-conscious individuals, but freezing brings a new set of problems. When you freeze fried foods, especially those cooked at high temperatures, you increase the risk of acrylamide formation when they're reheated. Acrylamide is a chemical produced during high-temperature cooking of starchy foods, and it's been linked to several types of cancer in animal studies. What's more alarming is that microwaving frozen fried foods can spike acrylamide levels even further, making them more dangerous than freshly prepared alternatives. The best advice is simple: avoid refreezing fried foods. If you crave that crispy texture, try baking instead of frying, and always make fried foods fresh, enjoying them in moderation. Dairy products, including milk, yogurt, and cheese, might seem safe to freeze, but think again. Freezing causes the proteins and fats in dairy to break down and separate. This not only affects texture and taste, but can also lead to the oxidation of fats, triggering inflammation in the body, a key risk factor for cancer and numerous chronic diseases. For older adults, consuming oxidized fats can be especially problematic, contributing to ongoing inflammation and increased disease risk. To avoid this, buy dairy in smaller portions that you can use up quickly. If you must freeze dairy, check that the packaging specifically says it's freezer safe, and be cautious of any changes in smell or texture after thawing. Cooked rice is another surprising entry on the list. Rice is a staple in many diets, but it harbors a hidden risk: Bacillus cereus, a bacteria that can survive cooking and multiply quickly at room temperature. Freezing cooked rice doesn't always kill these bacteria. In fact, if the rice is not cooled and frozen rapidly, or if it's reheated improperly, you're at risk of food poisoning from bacterial toxins. These toxins can damage cells and increase inflammation, which, over time, is linked to a higher cancer risk. To protect yourself, always eat rice fresh. If you need to store leftovers, cool the rice quickly, freeze immediately, and ensure it's thoroughly reheated before eating. Processed meats, like sausages, ham, and hot dogs, have long been under scrutiny for their links to cancer, especially colorectal cancer. These meats are packed with preservatives like nitrates and nitrites, which help prevent spoilage but come with their own dangers. Freezing and then reheating processed meats accelerate the breakdown of these nitrates into nitrosamines, the same cancer-linked compounds found in thawed leafy greens. The risk is cumulative, increasing with frequent consumption and improper storage. The safest route is to limit your intake of processed meats, store them in the refrigerator, and consume within a few days. Avoid long-term freezing, which only heightens the risk of harmful compound formation. Plastic-wrapped foods present another freezer hazard few people realize. Many plastic wraps and containers contain chemicals like phthalates and BPA, which can leach into food when exposed to extremely cold temperatures. These chemicals are known endocrine disruptors, interfering with hormone regulation and potentially increasing cancer risk, particularly breast and prostate cancers. The solution? Ditch plastic wraps for glass containers or BPA-free, freezer-safe bags. This simple switch dramatically reduces your exposure to harmful chemicals and is better for the environment too. Lastly, raw garlic and onions are best kept far from the freezer. When these vegetables are frozen raw, they lose their potent antioxidants and, when oxidized, can develop harmful compounds. The texture also turns mushy and unappealing, making them less nutritious and less appetizing. To maintain their health benefits, chop garlic and onions fresh before cooking. If you need to freeze them, cook first and then store in airtight containers to preserve their nutritional value and prevent the formation of unwanted toxins. A healthy freezer should be your ally, not a silent saboteur. Avoiding these 7 freezing mistakes can help you reduce your risk of inflammation, toxicity, and even cancer as you age. Remember, the choices you make in food storage are just as important as the foods you choose to eat. By staying informed and following these simple tips, blanching leafy greens before freezing, baking instead of frying, buying dairy in small amounts, cooling rice quickly, limiting processed meat, using glass over plastic, and prepping garlic and onions correctly, you can support your body's health and longevity one meal at a time. For more practical health insights and nutrition tips tailored to seniors and anyone seeking cancer prevention, keep learning and make informed choices that protect you and your family for years to come.